Hello. It's Belinda from Belinda's Book Nook. And I know you all forgot who I was. I am here. Actually, I'm going to time myself so I won't talk too long. I don't like to make long videos just because I feel like you have other things to do. And I don't want to suck up your time. I hope you guys are all well. It's been a crazy time and I am trying my hardest to be positive. I am finding positive and being able to do some things that I had put off. But I am also feeling very stressed and overwhelmed with losing the freedom to move freely and to see family and friends. That's probably the hardest part about it so far. Just trying to get through it. And surprisingly, a lot of times people talk about how, this gives you opportunity. And I was thinking in the beginning, the first few weeks, that I was going to slam through my bookcases and read all the stuff I have and finally get caught up. And, I don't know. I was in a fantasy world. I'm too distracted. And there's just a lot to do still. And I'm still working. And so I don't have that time. And even when I do, I'm not focusing. My brain is definitely a little bit more stressed. And it's forcing me to, put books down and I can't keep the focus. Or, I start something and I'm like, who's that person? Wait a minute. What was that? What did I just read? So I definitely find that to be a struggle. And so my numbers have not gone up. Surprise! And being the slow reader, I'm pretty much at my normal average. So for March Mystery Madness, I gave you guys a possible TBR, and I'm going to, no matter what, despite my fact and my disinterest in utilizing TBRs specifically on here. I don't mind writing them to myself because I'm like, whatever, I know I'm not going to, but I feel uncomfortable because I always feel like I never can meet it. Once again, I didn't meet my TBR that and I didn't remember in that video saying that these were possible options. That leaves the flexibility of some could be read and some will not be. And that's what happened. A combination of that being, on, I shouldn't call it house arrest, but being forced to stay home. And also a new release came out during that time. And I was like, oh, I kept finding myself looking over at the book like, should I? No. And I finally caved and did it. So that interrupted my list. But I'm going to talk to you about the first two and only two from that list that I did read from my list for the March Mystery Madness. And we're almost done with April, aren't we? And I'm doing March, but I'm behind. I'm sorry on the video front. I really want to, but I'm just not in the mood. And I don't want to be negative. I want to be positive. So here I am. The first one is Peril and Prayer, a Sister Lou mystery. This is a book 2 and this very sweet, cozy mysteries that I started last year in March Mystery Madness. From Troy Towell's channel, I had heard about this. I went and quickly ordered them from Thrift Books, I think. Book 1, 2, and 3. Or maybe book 2 and 3, and I bought book 1 at the store, I think. I have not been disappointed. It's very good. It follows Sister Lou and her other sisters at the St. Hermie of Ephesus, I'm not sure. But it's same cast of characters, but a different case with somebody getting killed. And I was able, obviously, to solve this one and who did it. But it was just comforting. It was a nice read to read during this. Cozies are great. They're cozies for a reason, in a sense that it's just easy reading. It's light. The murder's not graphic. You just get the comfort of, especially when you get into the series, the main characters. So it's like meeting relatives again. And I really enjoyed it. I have to say I enjoyed book 1 more than book 2, but I still enjoyed this enough that I will continue on with the series. So that was my first one. My second one was, what am I doing in time? Is Trail of Echoes by Rachel Housel Hall. I love her books. I think I say that every time I mention her. I can't wait to see if I still love her writing as much when I get to her current books, which are not series. They're just one-offs. I think she has one that came out last summer, I think. And then she's got a new one coming out this fall that I've pre-ordered. And I want to read those. So this is the third in her series with Detective Lou Norton and her in the gang. But what I just love about it is I love the strength in her character, the vulnerability that is expressed through her character. She just comes off as real. I love that these books talk about Black girls and women who have been killed in this country, and how their deaths are not treated the same as white murders, and that they are not pursued with the determination to solve the cases like they are. It's not equal. And she talks about that in these stories, and she talks about the devalue of their lives, that they're not valued the same, and therefore the effort is not the same. So once again, we have some young girls that are getting killed, and Lou has to solve this. What I also love is the dynamic, the writing of her and her dialogue between her partner and the rest of the people that work in her office, as well as her friends, her girlfriends. It is so comforting to read. I just feel like I'm just, a friend hanging out, listening to her talk. And I love it. I don't know if this is, everybody will feel the same way, but for some reason, her writing really, really speaks to me, and I enjoy it a lot. And I like that she's actually highlighting this problem as well within the justice system. So it's definitely great. It is definitely, there's definitely trigger warnings in here. I just think that if you don't mind, those things that you can get in with this story. But if you do, these are young victims with a person that is older, so maybe to some degree pedophile, and sexual stuff. So, but other than that, it's really a fascinating read. I can't wait to read the next one. This is the third, and I think there's 4 or 5 in this series, so I will definitely get to that. The book that interrupted it all. Let me see how much time I got. Okay, I'm doing all right. The book that interrupted it all was this one called Deathless Divide. It came in right in time to interrupt everything, by Justina Ireland. And this is the second in, this is The Dread Nation was the first book that came out 2 years ago now, I think. I feel like it was 2 years ago. And I loved it. I remember I wasn't sure if I wanted to read it, but I kept looking at it. And I'm like, I got it. It looks so good. I'm going to do it. And I ordered it, and I got it, and I read it, and I really loved it. These both follow, like, it's a post-Civil War America. It is a YA. It does involve, to some degree, like zombie-like people, but not in the sense like that you think. But she does handle some really tough issues within the context of the story with regards to Native Americans, Black people, and they are in the story as well. And it follows, again, the same main characters. Jane is Jane McKean, and what's the other name? Catherine Devereaux. And that's the 2 here on the cover. And they both are pretty badass. And it's good. I'm saying it, and you can hear it in my voice. I really loved the first one, and I enjoyed this one. There were parts in this where I felt like it was like, I don't know how to describe that. It was going on, and I was just like, yep. And then as we got towards the end part, the last third of the book, it started to pick up again. So there was a little bit of a lull in it for me. So if I were to rate them against each other, the first was my favorite of the two. I don't know if there's a third. Do you all know? Is there a third coming out of this? It left it kind of as a possibility, but in my mind, I'm like, well, what are they going to talk about? What question is it going to answer? What question is it asking? So I don't know, but I will probably stick to it to read the third if there is a third. And I hope she writes some other things too. I think she's written some other books prior to that, but I think there were definitely some YA that I wasn't interested in. But I did find this one really good. So I did think it was good. I'm not saying it's not as good, not a good book. And I think some people really, really like it. I just didn't like it as much as I liked the first one, so there's a slight level of disappointment. The last book was one that was not on my list as well. It's one that I had on my TBR for a long time, and I just felt like in the mood for an audiobook. And so I picked up The Unquiet Dead by Asma Zahanat Khan. And I don't know if you can even see this, but this is the cover of it. I don't know. I never know until afterwards if you guys can see it. So I will just like zoom it in. You're probably just seeing a big white rectangle, and I'm thinking you're seeing the cover. This book was really good. It was it was a fiction story, but it's between the time of 1992 and 1995, war in Bosnia, and which was formerly the nation of Yugoslavia. And I am old enough to know Yugoslavia, so that says something. But I know nothing about this time period. I am going to do a separate video just to talk about this because it was one that has piqued my interest. You know, certain books, like I just want to do more research on the topic. And I do have some friends from this region, and it would be nice to also know a little bit more about the history so I can know the context of their experience. So I will do a separate video on that, but it was a very good book. It was the first of a series. I believe she has a lot. I don't know how many, but I definitely want to read some more of those. So I will get to that. I hope you all, let me see how much time I have left. Oh, I'm doing it right. I hope you all are doing well. This has just been a very interesting time. I was going to say experiment, but it's not really an experiment. It is just a time. My allergies are starting to kick in on top of all this, so I had to keep some liquids always by because I'm coughing, and then the coughing will make everybody afraid right now. It's like, is that what kind of cough is that? So you know, and my nose and eyes, and it's only going to get worse as the weeks go on. So hang in there for you, all you allergy sufferers. I'm right there with you. And I think that we are all blessed with, you know, in this booktube community with books as our friends. So, you know, I'm glad that I have them. And even though I am distracted about trying to read, I am definitely, you know, grateful that I have options. And I can always turn to a book for comfort as well as my family. But I'm glad that I have that interest. You know, I feel sorry for the people that don't like to read as much. Maybe they'll pick it up now. Maybe this will, you know, surge in, you know, people wanting to read books, but I'm really grateful that I have books to read and stories to dive into and things to learn. And March was really, you know, despite the fact that I didn't stick to my list wholeheartedly, it was still a good month. I just, you know, I just couldn't read the extra that I thought in my mind I was going to be able to read because of the time. But I want you all to stay safe, and I'm going to try hard to make more videos. I just haven't been in the big mood to do it, but I will try my hardest to do a better job of making more videos. And my time is up. And I will be back with you soon to talk about the last book, The Unquiet Dead, and a little bit more depth, just because I don't think I have enough time to talk about it. So I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye.